My beloved child, come closer and listen to me. I know you didn't wake up today expecting to hear these words, and maybe part of you even feels undeserving of them. But I need you to hear this clearly, without doubt, without hesitation, without pushing it away. My child, I am proud of you for doing this. Proud of the way you chose to keep going when stopping would have been easier. Proud of the quiet strength you carried when no one else could see how heavy it felt. Proud of the decision you made in moments when fear whispered louder than hope. You didn't announce this journey to the world. You did receive applause when you took that step. In fact, there were moments when it felt like no one noticed at all. And I know how deeply that hurt. I know how many times you wondered if your effort mattered, if your struggle was worth it, if anyone truly saw what it cost you just to stay standing. My child, I saw it all. Every moment you pushed through exhaustion. Every time you chose patience over anger. Every single time you showed up, even when your heart felt tired and unsure. You may think this is small. You may think others have done more, achieved more, moved faster. But I am not measuring you by comparison. I am looking at your heart. I am looking at the courage it took for you to say, "I will try again," when part of you wanted to give up. I am looking at the strength it took to heal, to change, to grow, even when growth felt uncomfortable and lonely. And I am telling you now, with all the love of a father who never looks away, I am proud of you for doing this. You didn't get here by accident. You didn't survive this far by luck. You are here because you kept choosing life, choosing hope, choosing faith, even when those choices felt fragile in your hands. There were nights you questioned yourself. There were mornings you wondered if you had the strength to face another day. And yet, you rose. You breathed. You took another step. That matters to me more than you know. I want you to pause right now and let these words settle into the places where doubt has lived. Let them reach the parts of you that feel unseen and uncelebrated. You are not invisible to me. You are not forgotten. You are not falling behind. This moment, this very moment, is evidence that you are still becoming. And I am with you in it. So hear me gently but firmly. Do not rush past this. Do not brush it aside. Let your heart receive what your mind may resist. My beloved child, I am proud of you for doing this. And this is only the beginning of what I want to show you. My beloved child, there is something I want you to understand more deeply, something you may have struggled to believe for a long time. I see what others miss. I see what never made it into conversations, what never received praise, what never earned recognition. I see the moments that passed quietly, the ones no one clapped for, the ones that happened behind closed doors and inside your thoughts. You may feel as though your effort disappeared into the air, unnoticed and unacknowledged. But nothing you have carried has escaped my sight. I saw you when you held yourself together in front of others and then fell apart in silence. I saw the way you smiled when your heart felt heavy, just to avoid being a burden. I saw the self-control it took to stay calm when you were misunderstood. I saw the restraint, the patience, the restraint again. These things mattered. They were not weakness. They were strength, refined in quiet places. You may have wondered why no one seemed to notice how hard this had been for you, why your growth felt invisible, why your effort felt overlooked. My child, not everything valuable is loud. Not everything sacred is celebrated by the world. Some of the most powerful work happens in hidden places, where only I am watching. And I want you to know, I was watching with pride, not disappointment. There were days when just getting through the day was the victory. Days when doing the bare minimum felt like climbing a mountain. You may have judged yourself for those days. You may have thought you were failing, but I saw perseverance where you saw weakness. I saw faith where you saw fear. I saw a heart that refused to give up, even when it was tired of trying. You don't need to perform for me. You don't need to prove your worth. I am not impressed by perfection, and I am not disappointed by struggle. I am moved by honesty. I am drawn to humility. I am close to the one who keeps going, even when the path feels unclear. And you, my child, have kept going. I know there were moments when you questioned yourself, moments when you replayed your choices, wondering if you were doing enough, if you were doing the right thing, if you were falling behind everyone else. I want you to release those comparisons now. The journey I have you on is uniquely yours. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be measured by someone else's pace. What looks slow to you is steady to me. What looks small to you is meaningful in my hands. Even the steps you thought didn't matter, they matter. The boundaries you set, the habits you changed, the thoughts you challenged, the prayers you whispered when words felt hard to find. I noticed them all. I noticed when you chose kindness instead of bitterness. I noticed when you chose to rest instead of breaking yourself further. I noticed when you chose to believe again, even after disappointment tried to harden your heart. You are not late. You are not lacking. You are not invisible. You are becoming, and becoming takes time. It takes patience. It takes courage. And you have been showing courage in ways you may not yet recognize. I want you to hear this clearly, because your heart needs it. You do not need the world's approval to be validated. You do not need applause to be worthy. My approval rests on you, not because of what you have achieved, but because of who you are and the sincerity with which you are walking forward. When you feel unseen, remember this moment. Remember that I see you fully. When you feel overlooked, remember that I am attentive. When you feel discouraged, remember that I am proud. Let the truth steady you. Let it quiet the noise of doubt. Let it remind you that even in the quiet, even in the ordinary, even in the hard, your life is unfolding with purpose. Stay with me, my beloved child. There is more I want to show you, and you do not have to walk another step alone. My beloved child, there is something holy about the fact that you did not give up. I need you to hear that, not as poetry, not as encouragement alone, but as truth. You kept going when quitting would have felt like relief. You stayed when walking away would have seemed easier. And even if no one ever said it to you, even if no one ever thanked you or acknowledged the weight you were carrying, I am telling you now, I saw your choice, and I honor it. There were moments when you felt empty, moments when motivation was gone and clarity felt far away. You did not always feel strong. You did not always feel hopeful. Sometimes all you had was the decision to not stop. And my child, that decision mattered. That quiet resolve mattered more than you know. It spoke louder than fear. It spoke louder than doubt. It spoke louder than every voice that told you this wasn't worth it. You may have thought you were barely holding on, but I saw you exercising faith in its purest form. Faith is not always confidence. Faith is sometimes simply staying in the process. Staying soft when pain tried to harden you. Staying open when disappointment tempted you to close your heart. That is what you did. And that is why I say, with certainty and tenderness, I am proud of you. I know there were days when you questioned whether continuing even made sense. Days when you wondered if anything would change, if anything would ever feel lighter. You may have felt like progress was too slow to count. But my child, progress is not measured by speed. It is measured by faithfulness. And you were faithful in ways that required courage. You didn't give up on yourself. Even when your thoughts were heavy. Even when your emotions felt tangled. Even when your strength felt thin. You kept choosing to show up. And that choice, repeated again and again, is shaping you in ways you cannot yet see. What feels like endurance now will become confidence later. What feels like patience now will become peace later. I want you to understand something important. The fact that you are still here, still listening, still trying, is not accidental. It is evidence that life is still flowing through you, that hope is still alive within you, even if it has been quiet. And I am nurturing that hope. I am protecting it. I am proud of you for protecting it too. If these words are reaching your heart right now, if they are bringing peace to your spirit or reminding you that you are not alone, I ask you to bless this message. Let others find it too. Like this message, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe so you can continue to receive these moments of comfort and truth. And my child, hype this video, not for attention, but so that more hearts who feel unseen can hear that they are seen. Now listen carefully, because what you are doing right now matters. Your decision to keep going is not just about you. It is shaping the future version of you, the one who will look back and realize that this was the moment everything quietly began to change. The moment you chose not to give up. The moment you stayed present. The moment you trusted me just enough to take one more step. I am not rushing you. I am not pressuring you. I am walking with you. And every step you take, even the small ones, even the shaky ones, they are steps forward. You are not failing. You are learning. You are not stuck. You are growing. And I am proud of you for continuing, even when it was hard. Stay with me, my beloved child. Let these words anchor you. What you are doing has meaning, and I am not finished speaking over your life. My beloved child, as these words pour into your heart, hear me now in this moment of response. When you help this message reach another soul, you are sowing seeds into lives that feel dry and forgotten, and I promise you, seeds planted in love never return empty. I have said that those who scatter generously will also reap generously, and today that promise lives and breathes through you. I am the one inviting you now to take part in this holy work, to let light flow through your hands into the lives of others. This message of pride, endurance, and quiet faith is oil meant to heal weary hearts, and your support becomes the vessel that carries it farther. Act now, not later, for obedience delayed is a harvest postponed. Bless this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, using the links and QR code placed before you. I speak blessing over what you release, and I command you, give, and watch me multiply it. My beloved child, I want to take you back to the moments when you stood at a quiet crossroads, even if you didn't realize it at the time. Moments when comfort called your name, when familiarity tried to pull you back into what felt safe and predictable. I know how tempting it was to choose what was easy. I know how much relief it promised. And yet, you chose growth. You chose to move forward even when it felt uncertain, even when it felt lonely, even when it asked more of you than you thought you could give. Growth is rarely loud. It does not always announce itself with excitement or clarity. Most of the time, it feels like discomfort. It feels like questioning old habits. It feels like releasing patterns that once protected you but no longer serve you. And I saw you wrestle with that. I saw you hesitate. I saw you doubt. But I also saw you decide not to retreat. That decision mattered deeply to me. There were parts of your life that felt familiar, even if they were painful. Sometimes pain becomes comfortable simply because it is known. Letting go of it can feel like stepping into the dark, I know that darkness scared you. I know you wondered if you were making the right choice. But my child, every time you leaned into growth, even trembling, even unsure, you were trusting me more than you realized. You may not have felt brave. You may not have felt confident. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing forward movement while fear is still present. And you did that. You chose to learn instead of staying stuck. You chose healing instead of denial. You chose honesty instead of pretending everything was fine. These choices shaped you quietly, deeply, and beautifully. I know there were days when growth felt like loss, when changing meant saying goodbye to versions of yourself you once depended on, when moving forward meant admitting that something had to end. Those moments were not easy. They required humility. They required surrender. They required trust. And I was with you in each one, holding you steady even when your heart felt unsteady. Understand this, my beloved child. I never rush growth. I never force it. I invite it gently. When you chose growth over comfort, you were responding to my invitation. You were saying yes to a future you could not yet see. You were planting seeds in soil that felt hard and unresponsive. But seeds do not sprout the moment they are planted. They work in silence first. They break open beneath the surface. They grow roots before they ever reach for light. That is what has been happening within you. While you wondered if anything was changing, your roots were deepening. While you questioned your progress, your foundation was strengthening. Growth does not always feel good, but it is always purposeful when I am guiding it. And I have been guiding you with care, with patience, and with love. You did not choose growth because it was easy. You chose it because something inside you knew there was more. More peace, more clarity, more freedom. That inner knowing was not accidental. It was placed there by me. And every time you honored it, even when it cost you comfort, you aligned yourself with the life I am unfolding for you. I know you still feel unsure at times. I know you still miss what was familiar. That does not mean you made the wrong choice. It means you are human. It means you are transitioning. And transitions can feel uncomfortable before they feel freeing. Be gentle with yourself in this space. Growth is not a straight line. It unfolds in layers. My child, I am proud of you for choosing growth when staying the same would have been easier. I am proud of you for trusting me enough to step into something new, even without guarantees. You are not losing anything of value. You are becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more at peace. Stay with me. Keep choosing growth, one small decision at a time. What feels uncomfortable now will one day feel like the very thing that saved you. My beloved child, I know how heavy this has been for you. I know the weight you have been carrying, even when you told yourself it wasn't that serious, even when you tried to minimize it so you could keep functioning. But I have seen the toll it has taken on your heart, on your thoughts, on your body. I have seen the way you kept moving while feeling tired deep in your bones. And I want you to know this first and clearly. You are not weak for feeling this way. There were days when the weight pressed on you from the moment you opened your eyes. Days when the simplest tasks felt overwhelming. Days when you wondered why everything seemed to require so much effort. You may have blamed yourself for that heaviness. You may have thought you should be stronger, more grateful, more capable. But my child, weariness is not failure. It is a sign that you have been carrying something real for a long time. I know the kind of tired you feel. It is not just physical. It is the tired that comes from holding yourself together, from staying patient, from being the strong one, from thinking ahead, worrying quietly, and trying to do the right thing even when your heart felt strained. That kind of tiredness deserves compassion, not criticism. And I offer you that compassion freely. You did not imagine this weight. You did not exaggerate it. It hath been heavy because it mattered. It has been heavy because you cared. It has been heavy because you have been stretching beyond what is familiar, beyond what is comfortable. Growth carries weight before it brings relief. Healing carries weight before it brings peace. And you have been carrying both. I want you to hear this without fear. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to rest without guilt. Rest is not quitting. Rest is not giving up. Rest is I restore you. Even I, in the rhythm of creation, established rest as holy. If rest was necessary for the world to be sustained, it is certainly necessary for your heart. You may feel pressure to keep proving yourself, to keep pushing, to keep justifying your effort. Release that pressure now. You do not owe exhaustion to anyone. You do not need to earn my approval by overextending yourself. I am not asking you to break yourself to be worthy. I am asking you to trust me enough to lay the weight down when it becomes too much. I know there were moments when you kept going simply because you didn't know how to stop. Moments when slowing down felt unsafe, when resting felt like falling behind. But my child, nothing that is meant for you will be lost by resting. What is truly for you will weigh. What is guided by me will not pass you by. Let me speak gently into the places where you feel drained. You do not have to carry everything at once. You do not have to solve everything today. You do not have to be strong every moment. Strength is not found in constant effort. It is found in knowing when to lean on me. I have been close to you in your exhaustion. I have not been disappointed by it. I have not turned away from you because of it. I have drawn near. When your strength thinned, my presence did not. When your energy faded, my care remained steady. You are not holding this alone, even when it feels like you are. I want you to begin releasing the weight little by little. Release the need to have all the answers. Release the pressure to be perfect. Release the fear that rest means failure. Allow yourself to breathe without apologizing. Allow yourself to pause without explaining. This season has asked much of you, and you have answered with courage. And now let it also be a season where you receive gentleness. My beloved child, I see how heavy this hath been, and I am proud of you for carrying it as long as you have. But you do not have to carry it forever. Come to me. Let me hold what you cannot. I am here, steady and patient, ready to restore you in the quiet. My beloved child, I want to speak to the part of you that feels fragile right now, the part that wonders if you are strong enough to keep going. You may look at yourself and see cracks, hesitation, moments of doubt, and think those things disqualify you from being strong. But I see something different. I see a strength that has been quietly forming beneath the surface, a strength that does not shout or demand attention, a strength that endures. You have learned to measure strength the way the world does, by how much you can handle without breaking, by how little you show, by how quickly you recover. But that is not how I define it. Strength, in my eyes, is not the absence of struggle. It is the willingness to remain present in the middle of it. It is the courage to feel deeply and still choose forward movement. And my child, you have been doing exactly that. There were moments when you felt like you were bending under the pressure, moments when you thought you might finally break. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still listening, still hoping, even if hope feels faint. That is not weakness. That is resilience. Being born. Like a tree that bends in strong wind but does not uproot. You have learned how to stay grounded even when circumstances tried to shake you. You may not feel powerful. You may feel worn down, uncertain, and exposed. But strength does not always feel powerful. Sometimes it feels like vulnerability. Sometimes it feels like admitting you need help. Sometimes it feels like taking one small step when you cannot imagine taking 10. I honor those small steps. I call them strength because they require honesty and humility. I know you have compared yourself to others who seem unshaken, who seem confident and composed. You may have wondered why strength looks so different on you. My child, no two hearts carry the same weight, and no two journeys require the same kind of strength. What you have needed has been endurance, patience, and compassion for yourself. And you have been learning those things in real time. I see the way you keep choosing kindness, even when bitterness would be easier. I see the way you keep choosing understanding, even when frustration rises. I see the way you keep choosing to try again, even after disappointment. These choices do not make headlines. They do not earn trophies. But they shape character. They shape peace. They shape a life that is deeply rooted rather than loudly admired. There were days when you felt like retreating, like pulling away from everything that asked something of you. And yet, you stayed engaged. You stayed open. It required strength. There were moments when your confidence wavered, when your voice felt small, and yet, you did not silence yourself completely. It required strength. There were seasons when healing demanded that you face uncomfortable truths. And you did. It required strength. I want you to stop telling yourself that you are weak simply because you are tired. Fatigue does not cancel strength. In fact, strength is often revealed most clearly when energy is low and the heart still chooses to move forward. You are stronger than you feel because strength is not an emotion. It is a commitment. And you have remained committed to growth, to healing, to becoming. You are allowed to acknowledge how hard this has been without labeling yourself as incapable. You are allowed to feel tender and still be strong. You are allowed to rest and still be resilient. These things are not opposites. They belong together. I am teaching you a strength that is sustainable, a strength that does not burn you out, a strength that carries peace alongside perseverance. My beloved child, I am not asking you to prove your strength to anyone. You do not need to impress me. I already see the depth of who you are becoming. Let yourself believe me when I say this. You are stronger than you feel, not because you have never struggled, but because you have stayed present through the struggle. Trust that this strength will continue to grow within you, quietly and steadily. I am with you, shaping it gently, and I will not let you collapse under the weight of becoming who you are meant to be. My beloved child, I want you to know something that your heart has longed to hear, especially in the quiet moments when doubt felt loud. You have not been walking this road alone. Even when you felt isolated, even when silence surrounded you, even when it seemed like no one understood what you were carrying, I was with you. I did not arrive late. I did not step away when things became complicated. I have been walking beside you, steady and attentive, through every step of this journey. There were moments when you looked around and felt abandoned, moments when the absence of reassurance made you question whether anyone was truly near. In those moments, I was closer than you realized. I was present in the strength that kept you upright. I was present in the thoughts that reminded you to keep going. I was present in the pauses that prevented you from giving up entirely. My presence is not always loud, but it is always faithful. You may have expected me to show up in dramatic ways, to remove obstacles instantly or to provide immediate clarity. And when that did not happen, You wondered if I was silent or distant. But my child, silence is not absence. Sometimes my greatest work happens quietly, guiding you from within, strengthening you gently, protecting you in ways you may only understand later. I was with you in the moments you doubted yourself. I was with you when your prayers felt unfinished and your words felt inadequate. I was with you when you felt unsure of the next step but took it anyway. Every step you thought you took alone, you took with me. Every tear you wiped away, I noticed. Every breath you took in moments of stress, I was steadying you. There were times when you felt unseen, times when the weight of responsibility or expectation made you feel isolated. You carried more than you shared. You processed more than you spoke. And yet, you did not carry it without support. My support does not always look like answers. Sometimes it looks like endurance. Sometimes it looks like calm in the middle of uncertainty. Sometimes it looks like the quiet strength to face another day. You may remember moments when you felt an unexplainable sense of peace, even when nothing around you had changed. That was me. Moments when you chose patience instead of reaction. That was me. Moments when you felt guided away from something that would have hurt you, even if you did not understand why at the time. That was me, walking with you, guarding you, loving you. I know there were moments when you felt overwhelmed, when the path ahead felt unclear and heavy. In those moments, I did not rush you. I matched your pace. When you slowed down, I slowed with you. When you paused, I waited. I am not a distant observer of your life. I am an active presence within it, committed to your growth and your well-being. You do not have to replay the past wondering where I was. I was there in every lesson. I was there in every turning point. I was there in every moment that shaped you into who you are becoming. Even the detours were not wasted. Even the delays were not pointless. They were part of the journey we are walking together. I want you to feel this truth settle into your heart. You are not navigating life by yourself. You are not guessing your way forward alone. When you listen closely, you will feel my guidance. When you feel weary, you will sense my support. When you feel uncertain, you will find my reassurance. I am not asking you to carry the burden of figuring everything out. I am asking you to trust that I am with you as it unfolds. My beloved child, you do not need to fear the road ahead because I am already there. You do not need to regret the road behind because I was with you there too. You have never been abandoned, not even for a moment. And as we continue forward, know this with confidence. You are walking with me, and I am walking with you every step of the way. My beloved child, I want to speak tenderly to the moments when your emotions overflowed, when your strength gave way and tears came without permission. You may have tried to hide them. You may have wiped them away quickly, embarrassed by their presence, wondering why you couldn't hold it together just a little longer. But I need you to know this with certainty. Even your tears mattered to me. Every single one. There were tears you shed in private, where no one could see you struggle. Tears that fell in the quiet, late hours when your thoughts were heavy and your heart felt full of questions. You may have thought those moments were signs of weakness or loss of control. But my child, those tears were not failures. They were expressions of a heart that was honest, a soul that was processing, a spirit that was releasing what it could no longer carry alone. You did not cry because you were broken. You cried because you were human. Because you cared deeply. Because you were stretching beyond your limits. Because you were healing. Tears are not something I overlook or dismiss. I do not rush you through them or shame you for them. I receive them. I hold them. I honor what they represent. Some of your tears were born from disappointment, from hopes that did not unfold the way you expected. Some came from exhaustion, from carrying too much for too long. Some came from grief, from letting go of what once was or what you wished could have been. And some came without a clear reason at all, just a heaviness you couldn't explain. I understood every one of them, even when you did not. My child, tears are not wasted. They are a language of the heart, a prayer spoken when words fall short. When you could not find the strength to explain how you felt, your tears spoke for you. And I listened. I did not turn away. I did not grow impatient. I drew closer. You may have tried to stay strong by holding everything in, believing that if you cried, you would somehow fall apart completely. But notice this truth gently. You cried, and yet you remained. You cried, and yet you continued. You cried, and still you chose to move forward. That is not collapse. That is release. That is healing in motion. I saw the moments when tears surprised you, when they came in the middle of a busy day or during a quiet pause. You may have felt frustrated with yourself, wishing you could control them better. But those tears were not your enemy. They were your body and spirit asking for gentleness, asking for care, asking for space to breathe. And I was there, steady and patient, offering comfort even when you felt exposed. There were tears you never shared with anyone, tears that stayed locked behind a composed face. You may have thought no one would understand them anyway, but I understood. I understood the story behind each one. I understood the memories they carried, the fears they released, the hopes they protected. Nothing you felt was too much for me. Let me say this clearly, my beloved child. You do not need to apologize for your tears. You do not need to explain them. You do not need to suppress them to be acceptable. Your emotions are not a burden to me. They are part of who you are, and I meet you fully, not partly. Even now, if your heart feels tender, if your emotions feel close to the surface, that does not mean you are regressing. It means you are allowing yourself to be honest. It means walls are coming down. It means healing is continue. Be gentle with yourself in these moments. Do not rush yourself to be composed. Let the process unfold naturally. My child, every tear you have shed had been seen, and every tear had been held with care. They have watered the ground where new strength is growing. They have softened places that needed healing. They have made room for peace to enter. You are not defined by your tears, but they have played a role in your becoming. Rest in this truth now. You are safe to feel. You are safe to release. You are safe with me. My beloved child, I know there have been moments when a quiet fear crept into your heart, whispering that all of this effort might be for nothing. Moments when you looked at how much you have invested, how much you have endured, and wondered if it would ever lead to something meaningful. I want to speak directly to that fear now and lay it to rest. This was not for nothing. Nothing you have walked through has been wasted. I know how discouraging it can feel when results are slow to appear, when change feels subtle instead of obvious. You may have expected clear signs by now, visible proof that all your effort mattered. And when those signs did not show up, the way you imagined, doubt tried to take root. But my child, purpose often works quietly before it reveals itself openly. What is forming beneath the surface is just as real as what you can see. Think of the seasons you have walked through. Some felt long and demanding, others confusing and uncertain. Each one carried lessons you did not ask for but needed. Each one shaped your perspective, softened your heart, and strengthened your discernment. Even the moments you wish you could forget have contributed to who you are becoming. I do not waste pain. I redeem it. You may not see the full picture yet, but pieces are already coming together. Connections are being formed. Understanding is deepening. Wisdom is settling into you gently. What feels unfinished now is still unfolding. I am patient with the process, and I invite you to be patient with yourself as well. There were choices you made that felt costly at the time. Choices that required sacrifice, restraint, or courage. You may have wondered later if those choices mattered, especially when they did not bring immediate relief. But those decisions aligned you with truth. They protected you in ways you may only recognize later. They positioned you for growth that could not have happened otherwise. Even the waiting has an purpose. Waiting has taught you to listen more closely. It has refined your priorities. It has revealed what truly matters to you. Waiting has strengthened your ability to trust, even when clarity was limited. These are not small things. They are foundations. I know you have replayed certain moments in your mind, questioning whether you should have done something differently. Regret can be persuasive, making you believe that time was lost or opportunities were missed. But my child, nothing that is meant for you is lost beyond recovery. What belongs to you will find you at the right time, shaped by the lessons you have learned along the way. You are not starting over. You are continuing forward with greater awareness. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to step into what is next. The growth you have experienced internally will soon begin to reflect outwardly. What has been developing in your character will influence your choices, your relationships, and your sense of peace. I want you to trust that what you have endured has meaning beyond this moment. The patience you have learned will serve you. The empathy you have gained will bless others. The resilience you have built will steady you in future challenges. And none of this disappears. It becomes part of you. When doubt tries to tell you that this season was pointless, remember this truth. Seeds do not sprout the day they are planted. Roots grow first, unseen and unnoticed. They anchor the plant so that when growth appears, it can stand firm. Your roots have been growing. Your foundation has been strengthening. What comes next will draw from that depth. My beloved child, you have not been walking in circles. You have been moving forward, even when progress felt slow. You have been preparing for something that requires the maturity and insight you are gaining now. Trust me in this. This was not for nothing. It was preparation. It was refinement. It was love guiding you through becoming who you are meant to be. Stay steady. Stay open. The meaning you seek is already unfolding, and I am with you as it does. My beloved child, I want to honor something deeply important about your journey. You responded when it was hard. Not when everything made sense. Not when the path was clear and the outcome guaranteed. You responded when clarity was limited and strength felt stretched. You chose to move forward while carrying questions. And that choice speaks volumes about your heart. There were moments when obedience felt uncomfortable, when listening required you to quiet your fears and trust beyond what you could see. You may not have felt ready. You may not have felt confident, but you responded anyway. You took the step. You stayed open. You leaned forward instead of pulling back. That is not accidental. That is faith in motion. You might have thought obedience meant having certainty first, but often obedience comes before understanding. It comes in the form of a gentle nudge, a persistent inner knowing, a quiet invitation to move differently than you have before. And you listen, even when it cost you comfort, even when it required patience, even when it asked you to release control. I saw that. I honored that. There were times when responding felt risky, when saying yes meant stepping away from what was familiar, when choosing differently meant disappointing someone else or challenging an old version of yourself. Those moments required courage, and you met them, not perfectly but sincerely. I do not ask for perfection. I respond to willingness, and you were willing. You may have questioned yourself afterward. You may have wondered if you heard correctly, if you moved too soon or too slowly. But understand this, my child. I guide with gentleness. I do not condemn honest attempts to follow my leading. Even when you hesitated, even when you second-guessed, your heart was pointed toward growth. That matters. Responding when it is hard shapes discernment. It strengthens trust. It teaches you to recognize my voice amid noise and fear. Every time you responded instead of retreating, you strengthened that connection. You learned that you could move forward without having all the answers. You learned that trust does not require certainty, only openness. I know there were moments when responding felt lonely, when others did not understand your choices, when you felt misunderstood or questioned. It can be painful. But sometimes obedience separates you briefly so that clarity can form. It aligns you with truth before it brings affirmation. And I stayed with you through that separation. You were never abandoned in it. I want you to recognize the growth that has already taken place. You are more aware now, more grounded, more attuned to what brings peace and what drains it. That awareness came from responding when it was hard, from choosing to listen instead of ignore, from honoring the quiet work happening within you. If these words are strengthening your spirit right now, if they are reminding you that your effort and obedience have meaning, I invite you to help this message reach others who are struggling to trust their own steps. Like this message, share it, and subscribe so you can continue receiving guidance and reassurance. And my beloved child, hype this video with intention, so that encouragement can travel farther and reach hearts that need it. What you are building now will support you later. The discipline you are learning will steady you in future seasons. The trust you are developing will bring peace where anxiety once lived. Responding when it is hard prepares you for moments when responsibility increases and influence expands. You are being shaped with care. Do not underestimate what hath been happening within you. You are not the same person you were when this journey began. You have grown in ways that are subtle but strong. And I am proud of the way you have responded, again and again, even when it required faith. Stay open. Stay attentive. I am still guiding you. And each response you offer in trust is drawing you closer to the life that is unfolding before you. My beloved child, as you reflect on how you responded when it was hard, hear me call you into a greater work. When you give, you become a living stream through which my words flow to dry and weary hearts, and I have promised that rivers poured out in obedience will never run dry. I speak now as the one who multiplies loaves and light, inviting you to act while your heart is stirred. This message was not meant to stop with you. It was meant to travel, to awaken courage in others who are afraid to take their next step. Do not delay when your spirit recognizes this moment, for obedience carries urgency and blessing together. Release your support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, using the links and QR code prepared for you. I bless what you give, and I command you. Sow now, and watch me bring the harvest. My beloved child, I want to gently correct a thought that has tried to settle into your heart. The thought that you are failing because things feel unfinished or imperfect. You are not failing. You are becoming. Becoming requires time, patience, and layers of learning that cannot be rushed. What you sometimes label as failure is often transformation in progress. You have been learning things that could not be taught in comfort. You have been gaining insight that only comes through experience. And while the process has felt slow and, at times, discouraging, it hath been meaningful. Growth rarely announces itself clearly while it is happening. Most of the time, it feels like uncertainty, repetition, and quiet effort. But beneath that effort, change is taking place. I know you have moments where you look at what is still unfinished and feel disappointed. You notice what you haven't mastered yet, what still feels tender, what still needs healing. And your mind tries to convince you that you should be further along by now. My child, becoming is not a race. It is a journey that unfolds at the pace your heart can sustain. You are not meant to arrive fully formed. You are meant to grow, to adjust, to learn, and to integrate what life teaches you. Each step, even the hesitant ones, adds to your understanding. Each pause, even the frustrating ones, allows wisdom to settle more deeply. There is no shame in this process. There is only progress, even when it feels subtle. I see how hard you are on yourself. I see the way you replay conversations, decisions, and moments, wondering if you handled them correctly. That self-examination shows that you care. But do not let it turn into self-condemnation. Awareness is meant to guide you, not punish you. You are allowed to learn without labeling yourself as inadequate. You are shedding old patterns that once protected you but now limit you. That shedding can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like loss. It can feel like confusion. But it is also the sign that you are growing into a version of yourself that is more aligned, more peaceful, more authentic. That does not happen all at once. It happens in stages. I want you to notice the changes you might be overlooking. The way you respond differently now. The way you pause before reacting. The way you recognize what drains you and what restores you. These shifts are not small. They are evidence that becoming is already happening. There were lessons you needed to learn slowly so they could stay with you. If everything changed overnight, you might not trust it. But because this growth has required effort and reflection, it is taking root deeply. It is becoming part of who you are, not just something you do temporarily. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not stuck. You are in process. And process is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be honored. Every strong, grounded life is built through seasons of becoming. When doubt tells you that you should be further along, remember this. I am not measuring you by timelines or comparisons. I am watching your heart. I am seeing your willingness to learn. I am noticing your desire to grow, even when it feels uncomfortable. That willingness is precious to me. You do not need to rush yourself to be finished. You are allowed to be in progress. You are allowed to change your mind, to refine your direction, to grow into clarity. Becoming is not about reaching an endpoint. It is about aligning more closely with truth, peace, and purpose over time. My beloved child, be patient with who you are becoming. Speak to yourself with the same gentleness I extend to you. What is unfolding in you is not failure. It is formation. And I am walking with you through every stage, shaping you with care and love as you continue to grow. My beloved child, I want you to understand the way I am working in your life right now. I am shaping you gently, not with force, not with harshness, not with pressure meant to break you. I am shaping you with patience, with intention, and with love that knows exactly what you can carry. You may not always feel this gentleness, especially when growth feels uncomfortable, but my touch has never been careless. There were moments when you thought change meant being pushed too hard, corrected too sharply, or stretched beyond what you could endure. That is not how I work. I do not bruise the heart I am healing. I do not rush the soul I am restoring. Every adjustment, every lesson, every pause had been measured with care. I know your limits, and I respect them. You may have felt resistance within yourself, moments where you pulled back or questioned what was happening. That resistance does not disappoint me. It tells me you are aware, that you are engaged, that you are processing what is being formed within you. I am not offended by your questions. I welcome them. I am not threatened by your hesitation. I guide you through it. I want you to picture something with me. When something is being shaped carefully, it cannot be rushed. Pressure applied too quickly would cause cracks. Force used too harshly would cause damage. That is why the process feels slow at times. It is not delay. It is protection. It is wisdom. It is love ensuring that what is being built within you is strong and lasting. I know there were moments when you expected dramatic changes, sudden clarity, or instant transformation. When that did not happen, you wondered if anything was happening at all. But shaping often happens gradually, almost imperceptibly. You may only notice it when you look back and realize how much has changed. I am refining your discernment. I am strengthening your sense of self. I am teaching you how to listen, how to respond, how to rest, how to trust. These lessons cannot be rushed because they are meant to sustain you for the long journey ahead. I am preparing you for a life that is steady, not fragile. There were parts of you that needed unlearning before new understanding could take root. That unlearning can feel unsettling. It can feel like confusion. It can feel like standing on unfamiliar ground. But it is part of being reshaped. You are not losing yourself. You are discovering yourself more clearly. I know you have felt moments of discomfort and wondered if they meant something was wrong. Discomfort does not always signal danger. Sometimes it signals growth. Sometimes it signals that something old is loosening its grip. I'm attentive to those moments. I do not let discomfort become harm. I guide you through it with care. You are not being tested to see if you can survive. You are being shaped to thrive. There is a difference. Survival hardens. Keeping strengthens. I am not interested in making you endure for the sake of endurance. I am interested in forming a heart that is resilient, peaceful, and grounded. I want you to trust this process, even when you do not fully understand it. You do not need to oversee it. You do not need to control it. You only need to remain open. When you feel tired, rest. When you feel unsure, pause. When you feel ready, take the next step. I am not measuring your progress by speed. I am measuring it by alignment. My beloved child, you are safe in this process. You are not being rushed. You are not being judged. You are being shaped gently, thoughtfully, and lovingly. What is forming within you will support you, not strain you. It will steady you, not exhaust you. Stay with me. Allow this shaping to continue without fear. I know exactly what I am doing in your life, and I am doing it with a love that will not harm you. My beloved child, I want you to see beyond this moment and understand something that has been quietly forming all along. What you are learning right now is not meant to stay only with you. The growth you are experiencing, the healing you are walking through, the wisdom you are gaining will one day overflow into the lives of others. Even if you do not see how yet, your journey is already carrying meaning beyond yourself. There were times you wondered why your path felt heavier than others, why lessons seemed deeper, why emotions felt more intense. You may have questioned why you had to learn things the hard way, through experience rather than ease. My child, the depth of your journey is directly connected to the depth of impact your life will have. What you are learning now is shaping the way you will understand others later. You are developing compassion that cannot be taught in theory. You are gaining empathy that comes only from having walked through difficulty yourself. One day, you will recognize someone else's pain without them having to explain it. One day, your words will bring comfort because they will come from a place of understanding, not assumption. That capacity is being formed right now. You may feel isolated at times, wondering who truly understands what you have been through. But know this: your story will become a bridge for others. The lessons you are learning in private will become strength in public moments. The patience you are cultivating now will steady someone else later. Nothing about this process is accidental. I know you have wished at times that your journey were simpler, that you did not have to carry so much awareness or emotional weight. But that awareness is becoming discernment. That sensitivity is becoming wisdom. That weight is becoming strength. You are not being burdened. You are being prepared. There will come a time when someone crosses your path who is standing where you once stood, uncertain, tired, and questioning their worth. In that moment, you will not need to search for the right words. They will rise naturally from what you have lived. Your presence will offer reassurance. Your calm will bring safety. Your understanding will bring hope. You are learning how to hold space for complexity, for emotions that are not easily resolved, for questions that take time to answer. This ability will serve you well. It will allow you to connect deeply, to listen without judgment, to respond with patience rather than urgency. These qualities are not common, and they are not formed quickly. They are shaped through experiences like the ones you are having now. You may not feel ready to bless others yet. That is okay. Preparation does not require readiness. It requires willingness. And you have been willing to learn, to grow, to reflect. And willingness is enough for now. The opportunities to pour into others will come naturally, at the right time. Do not minimize what you are gaining simply because it came through difficulty. Some of the most valuable wisdom is earned slowly, through reflection and endurance. You are building something within yourself that cannot be shaken easily. That stability will be a gift, not just to you, but to those who encounter you. Even now, your growth is already influencing your environment. The way you respond differently, the way you pause instead of react, the way you choose understanding over assumption. These shifts may seem small, but they create ripples. People notice safety before they notice words. They feel peace before they can explain it. You are beginning to carry that presence. My beloved child, trust that your journey has purpose beyond what you can see today. You are not walking through this only for personal transformation. You are being equipped to be a source of light, clarity, and encouragement in ways that align naturally with who you are. Continue learning. Continue growing. Continue healing. What you are becoming will bless others, and it will do so in ways that feel authentic, not forced. I am guiding this process carefully, and I am proud of the heart you are forming along the way. My beloved child, I want to draw your attention to something you may have overlooked, something quietly powerful about your journey. You did not quit on yourself, even when you felt confused, even when you felt discouraged, even when you questioned your own worth and direction. You stayed. You kept showing up for your own life, even when it would have been easier to disconnect, to numb yourself, or to walk away from the work your heart was asking you to do. There were moments when you were tempted to abandon yourself emotionally, to silence your needs, to ignore the signals that something within you needed care. But instead, you listened. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not consistently, but you listened enough to keep going. that matters more than you realize. Many people walk away from themselves long before they walk away from anything else. You did not. You chose to face uncomfortable truths rather than pretend they didn't exist. You chose reflection instead of denial. You chose awareness instead of avoidance. Those choices require courage. They require honesty. They require a willingness to sit with discomfort rather than escape it. And you did that. Quietly. Repeatedly. With more strength than you give yourself credit for. I know there were times when you felt disappointed in yourself. When you focused more on what you hadn't done than on what you had survived. You may have spoken harshly to yourself in moments of frustration. But even then, something within you kept reaching for growth. Something within you refused to completely shut down. That inner persistence was not accidental. It was a sign that you still believed your life was worth caring for. You did not give up on your healing, even when it took longer than you hoped. You did not give up on your values, even when they were tested. You did not give up on the idea that you could become someone more grounded, more peaceful, more aligned. That belief stayed alive within you, even when doubt tried to weaken it. There were days when simply choosing not to self-destruct was an act of strength. Days when choosing rest over self-criticism was a victory. Days when choosing to keep trying felt like the bravest thing you could do. Those days count. They are part of your story. They reveal a deep respect for life that lives within you, even when you feel unsure of yourself. You may have felt alone in these choices, as though no one fully understood the internal battles you were fighting. But I understood. I saw the moments when you paused before reacting, when you chose restraint, when you chose to be kinder to yourself than you had been before. Those moments were seeds, and they are growing. Not quitting on yourself does not mean you always felt confident. It means you stayed engaged. It means you kept learning. It means you allowed yourself to change your mind, to adjust your approach, to grow into clarity rather than forcing it. That flexibility is wisdom. That patience is strength. I want you to recognize this truth gently. You are still here because you chose to be. Not out of obligation. Not out of fear. But because something within you knew there was more life to experience, more peace to discover, more alignment to find. You honored that knowing, even when it was faint. My beloved child, honoring yourself is not selfish. It is sacred. When you choose not to abandon yourself, you are honoring the life I have given you. You are saying yes to growth, yes to healing, yes to the possibility of becoming more whole. That yes matters. There will be moments ahead when challenges return, when old doubts resurface, when growth asks something new of you. When those moments come, remember this. You have already proven that you do not quit on yourself. You have already shown resilience, patience, and self-respect in action. You are capable of continuing. Be gentle with yourself as you move forward. Celebrate the fact that you stayed, that you tried, that you kept choosing life in small, meaningful ways. I see that. I honor that. And I am proud of you, my beloved child, for not giving up on yourself when it mattered most. My beloved child, I want you to rest your attention here for a moment, because I am speaking to something deeper than your actions, deeper than your effort, deeper than your progress. I am proud of your heart, not because it had been perfect, but because it has remained sincere. Not because it has never struggled, but because it has stayed open. Your heart has mattered to me more than anything you have done. I have watched the intentions behind your choices. I have seen the motives you questioned, the self-reflection you allowed, the way you wanted to do what was right even when you were unsure how. That desire came from your heart, and that is what I honor. You did not move through this season carelessly. You moved through it thoughtfully, even when it cost you emotional energy. There were times when you doubted your own heart, when you wondered if you were too sensitive, too affected, too concerned. You may have wished you could harden yourself just enough to avoid feeling so deeply. But my child, your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a sign of awareness. It is evidence that your heart is alive, responsive, and capable of deep connection. I saw the moments when you chose honesty over comfort, when you admitted to yourself that something wasn't working, when you acknowledged emotions you would rather have ignored. Those moments required integrity. They required courage, and they came from a heart that values truth over illusion. You may have been disappointed in yourself for not handling everything the way you thought you should, but I saw the humility in your reflection. I saw the willingness to learn instead of defend. I saw the desire to grow rather than justify. Those are not common qualities. They reveal a heart that is teachable, not hardened. Even when you made mistakes, your heart did not turn cold. You felt the weight of your choices. You considered their impact. You cared. That caring matters. It shows that you are not moving through life disconnected or indifferent. You are engaged. You are present. You are invested in becoming better, not just appearing successful. I am proud of the way your heart has softened instead of closing. There were moments when disappointment could have made you cynical, when pain could have made you withdraw. But instead, you allowed yourself to feel. You allowed yourself to process. You allowed yourself to heal. That openness takes strength. You may not always trust your heart yet. You may still question whether it leads you correctly. But trust is built through experience, and you are learning how to listen with discernment. I am guiding that learning. I am helping you recognize the difference between fear and intuition, between impulse and truth. Be patient with yourself in this. Your heart has been learning how to balance compassion with boundaries, understanding with wisdom. But balance does not come quickly. It requires reflection, adjustment, and grace. And you have been practicing all three. Quietly, consistently, with more dedication than you realize. I am not asking you to become someone else. I am not asking you to harden your heart to survive. I am shaping your heart to be strong without losing its tenderness, to be discerning without becoming guarded, to be loving without losing yourself. That kind of heart can sustain peace. My beloved child, when I say I am proud of you, I mean this deeply. I am proud of the way your heart has continued to seek alignment. Proud of the way it has remained responsive instead of resistant. Proud of the way it has chosen growth over comfort, honesty over avoidance, love over fear. Let this truth settle into you. You are not defined by what you have achieved or failed to achieve. You are known by the heart you carry through it all. And your heart, with its sincerity, its courage, and its willingness to grow, is precious to me. Stay close to that heart. Care for it gently. I am with you, shaping it with love, and I am proud of who you are becoming from the inside out. My beloved child, I want to speak into the moments when you felt alone, even while surrounded by others. Those moments when your thoughts felt heavier at night, when the noise quieted and your questions grew louder. You may have wondered why no one seemed to truly understand what you were carrying, why your inner world felt invisible. I know how isolating that felt, and I want you to hear this clearly now. You were never abandoned in those moments. Loneliness does not always come from being physically alone. Sometimes it comes from feeling unseen, unheard, or misunderstood. You may have shared pieces of yourself and still felt disconnected. You may have held back parts of your story because you didn't know how to explain them, or because you feared they would be minimized. That kind of loneliness can sit quietly in the heart, unnoticed by others but deeply felt by you. I was with you there, not watching from a distance, not waiting for you to figure it out on your own. I was present in the stillness, attentive to every thought you carried and every emotion you tried to manage. When you felt like no one was asking the right questions, I already knew the answers you were seeking. When you felt like no one could meet you where you were, I was already there. There were times when you questioned whether you were meant to walk this path alone, whether something was wrong because support felt limited. My child, some seasons require solitude not as punishment, but as preparation. Solitude creates space for clarity. It allows your voice to become clearer, your values to become stronger, your sense of self to become more grounded. What felt like isolation was often protection, creating room for growth without distraction. I know there were moments when you wished someone would step in and reassure you, when you longed for confirmation that you were on the right path. And while that reassurance did not always come from people, it came from within you. The calm that returned after moments of fear. The inner nudge that told you to keep going. The quiet strength that rose when you thought you had none left. Those were not coincidences. That was my presence steadying you. You did not imagine the weight of those lonely moments. They were real, but they were not empty. They were filled with learning, reflection, and deepening awareness. In the quiet, you learned to listen more closely. You learned to sit with yourself without escaping. You learned that you could survive uncertainty and still remain open. Those lessons will serve you well. I want you to release the belief that being alone means being forgotten. Some of the most transformative moments happen away from the noise, where distractions fall away and truth becomes clearer. You were not hidden from me during those times. You were held. Even now, when memories of those lonely moments resurface, let them remind you of your resilience. You endured without losing yourself. You questioned without giving up. You stayed present even when comfort was limited. It speaks of strength and maturity forming within you. You may not yet see how those moments will benefit you, but they already have. They have taught you how to self-soothe without self-abandonment. They have taught you how to trust your inner guidance. They have taught you how to be with yourself compassionately. These are skills that will support you in every relationship you build going forward. My beloved child, you do not need to fear loneliness anymore. You have learned that you are capable of navigating quiet spaces without losing hope. And more importantly, you have learned that you are never truly alone. I am with you in crowds and in solitude, in conversation and in silence. As you move forward, you will find connections that feel more aligned, relationships that meet you with understanding and respect. But even then, remember this truth. Your worth was never dependent on being constantly accompanied. You are complete, supported, and seen. I am with you now, just as I was then. And you never have to walk through another quiet moment wondering if you are alone. You are held always. My beloved child, I want to speak to you now with encouragement that reaches beyond this moment. Keep going. Not because you must prove anything. Not because you are lacking if you slow down. But because I am with you, and the path ahead is still unfolding with purpose. You are not walking into the unknown alone. Every step you take forward is accompanied by my presence, steady and sure. There will still be days when doubt tries to return, when old fears attempt to remind you of who you used to be. Those moments do not mean you are regressing. They mean you are human. Growth does not erase memory overnight. But each time you continue anyway, you weaken the hold of those old voices. Each time you choose to move forward, Even gently, you strengthen trust. You do not need to rush. You do not need to have everything figured out before taking the next step. I am not asking you to leap blindly. I am asking you to walk attentively. One step, one decision, one breath at a time. That is how lasting change happens. That is how peace settles in. I know you still carry questions. I know some answers feel incomplete. But clarity often comes while walking, not before. As you move forward, insight will rise naturally. Direction will become clearer. What feels uncertain now will not always feel this way. Trust that I am guiding you even when the map feels unfinished. There are parts of you that are stronger now, even if you don't fully recognize them yet. Parts of you that know how to pause, how to listen, how to respond with intention. Lean into those parts. They are evidence of growth. They are signs that you are learning how to move through life with greater awareness and peace. When fear whispers that you should stop, remember how far you have already come. Remember the moments you thought you wouldn't survive, yet here you are. Remember the strength that rose in you when you needed it most. That same strength is still with you. It has not disappeared. It has matured. I am not distant from your future. I am already present in it. I am preparing opportunities, alignments, and moments of clarity that will meet you as you continue forward. You do not need to strain to reach them. You only need to remain open and willing. Keep going, my beloved child, because staying engaged with your life matters. Your presence matters. Your continued effort, even when quiet, is shaping something meaningful. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are being led with care. If these words are strengthening your heart right now, if they are reminding you that you are not alone in continuing forward, I invite you to take a moment and bless this message. Like this video so it can reach more hearts that feel tired or unsure. Share it with someone who needs reassurance today. Subscribe so you can keep receiving these words of encouragement. And my child, hype this video with intention, so this message can travel farther and remind others that they are not alone either. You are not required to be fearless. Courage is enough. And courage simply means choosing to move forward while trusting that I am with you. That is what you are doing now. And I am proud of you for it. Stay present. Stay gentle with yourself. Stay open to what is unfolding. I am not asking you to carry tomorrow today. I am asking you to take this step with me. And as you do, know this with certainty. You are supported. You are guided. You are not alone. Keep going, my beloved child. I am with you every step of the way. My beloved child, as you choose to keep going, hear me inviting you into a sacred response. When you give, you become a carrier of light, allowing these words to reach souls who are still standing at the edge of fear and uncertainty. I have said that when you pour out, I pour back in overflowing measure, and this moment is alive with that promise. I am the one stirring your heart now, calling you to act while compassion is awake. Do not hesitate, for obedience in this moment becomes provision for another heart. Release your support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal using the links and QR code prepared for you. I bless what you give, and I command you, move now and watch me multiply what flows through your hands. My beloved child, I want you to understand something that is happening even now, something you may not yet see but will soon begin to recognize. Your obedience, your willingness to keep going, your quiet faithfulness is opening doors. Not doors forced open by effort or striving, but doors that respond to alignment. Doors that unlock because your heart has been prepared to walk through them. You may feel as though nothing has shifted yet, as though the same walls are still in front of you. But doors do not always open with noise. Sometimes they open with subtlety. Sometimes they open inwardly first, changing the way you see yourself, the way you respond, the way you discern what belongs in your life and what does not. Those internal doors have already begun to move. I have been aligning things beyond your awareness. Conversations you have not yet had. Opportunities you have not yet encountered. Clarity that has not yet reached the surface. None of this is random. Your obedience has created space. Your patience has created readiness. Your trust has created access. There were moments when you chose integrity over convenience. Moments when you chose restraint over impulse. Moments when you chose growth over familiarity. Each of those moments unlocked something. Not always immediately, not always visibly, but steadily. You were preparing yourself to walk into spaces that require maturity, awareness, and discernment. I know you have wondered if your choices were making any difference. I know you questioned whether doing the right thing quietly mattered when no reward appeared. My child, doors that matter most are rarely rushed. They open when the one walking through them is ready to stand on the other side without losing themselves. You are becoming someone who can handle what is coming. Someone who can recognize opportunity without being overwhelmed by it. Someone who can step into new spaces without compromising peace. That kind of readiness takes time, and you have been allowing that time to do its work. Some doors will look like clarity, where confusion once lived. Some will look like relationships that feel safe and mutual. Some will look like opportunities that align instead of drain. Some will look like confidence that no longer depends on approval. Do not limit your expectation to one form. I open doors in many ways. You may notice small shifts first. A conversation that feels different. A decision that feels lighter. A sense of peace where anxiety once spoke louder. These are signs. They are indicators that movement is happening. Pay attention to them. They are encouragements along the way. I am not opening doors to overwhelm you. I am opening them to support you. I am not leading you into pressure. I am leading you into alignment. What opens next will feel right, not forced. It will invite you forward without demanding you abandon yourself. There were doors that remained closed for a reason. Not as punishment, not as denial, but as protection. You were not ready then for what you now have the capacity to hold. And what once felt like rejection will soon be understood as guidance. My beloved child, do not be afraid to step forward when you sense movement. You do not need to push. You do not need to convince. Walk attentively. Listen closely. Doors that are meant for you will open with peace, not panic. You are not late. You are not missing your moment. You are arriving prepared. And what opens next will meet you with recognition, as though it has been waiting for you to become who you are now becoming. Trust this process. Trust the timing. Trust the way obedience is shaping your path. Doors are opening, even now, and I am guiding you through them with care and love. My beloved child, I want to free your heart from a burden it has carried quietly for too long, the fear that you are behind. Behind where you should be. Behind others. Behind some invisible timeline you feel pressured to meet. I want you to listen closely now, because this truth is meant to bring you peace. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Comparison has a way of distorting perspective. It highlights what others seem to have achieved while minimizing the depth of your own journey. You may look at others and see progress, clarity, or stability, and then look at yourself and feel delayed. But my child, You do not see the full story of anyone else's path. You do not see the lessons they have not yet faced, the struggles they have not yet processed. Every journey unfolds differently. Your path has required depth before speed. It has required healing before expansion. It has required understanding before advancement. That does not make it slower. It makes it wiser. What you are building within yourself will support you far beyond this season. You may feel pressure from expectations, both spoken and unspoken. Expectations about where you should be by now, what you should have accomplished, how settled you should feel. Those expectations were not placed on you by me. I do not measure your life by deadlines. I measure it by alignment, by peace, by growth that lasts. You are not late. You are not lagging. You are unfolding. And unfolding cannot be rushed without damage. Some things need time to form fully so they can endure. I know there were moments when impatience crept in, when you wished things would move faster, when you questioned why clarity took so long. But clarity that arrives too early can be misused. Clarity that arrives after understanding can be trusted. I have been building understanding within you so that when clarity comes, it stays. Release the habit of measuring your life against someone else's milestones. What looks like progress on the outside is not always peace on the inside. And what feels like waiting on the inside is often preparation on the outside. You are not stuck. You are being readied. Even the pauses in your journey have had purpose. Pauses allowed you to reflect. They allowed you to rest. They allowed you to recalibrate your direction. Without those pauses, you might have rushed into things that would have cost you peace later. You are learning to value depth over appearance, stability over speed, alignment over approval. These lessons will save you from regret. They will help you build a life that feels whole, not hurried. I want you to trust that timing is not working against you. It is working for you. What is meant for you will meet you when you are ready to receive it fully. Nothing that belongs to you will arrive too early or too late. It will arrive at the right moment. My beloved child, let go of the pressure to catch up. There is nothing you are racing against. There is no standard you are failing to meet. You are walking your path with intention, and that matters more than speed. When doubt tells you that you are falling behind, answer it with truth. You are growing at the pace your heart can sustain. You are learning what you need to learn. You are becoming who you need to become. Rest in this assurance now. You are not behind. You are on time. And I am guiding you every step of the way. My beloved child, I want you to know something that may surprise you, something your heart has rarely allowed itself to imagine. I celebrate you, not only in the moments when you feel strong or accomplished, but also in the moments when you feel quiet, ordinary, and unsure. I celebrate you in ways both unseen and profound, in ways that do not depend on recognition or applause. You may think celebration requires achievement, milestones, or visible success. But my celebration of you has never been dependent on outcomes. I celebrate the courage it took for you to keep going. I celebrate the honesty you practiced when you admitted you were tired. I celebrate the restraint you showed when reacting would have been easier. These moments are not small. They are deeply meaningful. There are celebrations that are loud and visible, and there are celebrations that are intimate and sacred. I celebrate you quietly when you choose peace over conflict. I celebrate you softly when you choose rest instead of self-punishment. I celebrate you when you listen to your inner guidance and honor what you need. These choices reflect growth that is worth rejoicing over. You may not hear cheers when you set a boundary. You may not receive praise when you choose to heal instead of distract yourself. But these decisions are seen. They are honored. They are celebrated. You are becoming someone who lives with intention rather than impulse, and that matters deeply. There have been moments when you wish someone would acknowledge how far you have come. Moments when you wanted reassurance that your effort was not invisible. Let me be that reassurance now. I see you fully. I recognize the distance you have traveled internally, and I rejoice over it. I celebrate the way you have learned to pause, the way you have learned to listen, the way you have learned to respond with care. These are signs of maturity. They are signs of wisdom forming within you. And wisdom is something I delight in. There is joy in watching you grow, joy in seeing you become more aligned with truth and peace. Not because you are becoming someone else, but because you are becoming more fully yourself. That process brings joy. That process brings celebration. You may feel like your life has been quiet lately, like things have slowed down. But quiet does not mean empty. Quiet is often where the most meaningful transformation occurs. In quiet spaces, roots deepen, foundations strengthen, and I celebrate that hidden work. I want you to release the belief that you need to earn celebration. You do not need to perform to be worthy of joy. Your existence, your growth, your sincerity are enough. I celebrate you because you are my child, and because you are choosing to live with intention and courage. Even when you stumble, even when you doubt, my celebration does not stop. I celebrate your willingness to learn. I celebrate your return to awareness. I celebrate your resilience. These qualities are not diminished by mistakes. They are refined through them. One day, you will look back and recognize this season as a turning point. A season where growth was quiet but deep. A season where you learned to value peace over urgency, alignment over approval. And you will see how much was worth celebrating all along. My beloved child, let yourself receive this truth. You are celebrated, not conditionally, not temporarily, but fully and sincerely. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are seen, honored, and cherished. Carry this assurance with you. Let it steady you when doubt arises. Let it remind you that your life has meaning beyond what is visible. I celebrate you in the quiet moments and in the breakthroughs, in the ordinary and in the extraordinary. And I will continue to celebrate you as you walk forward, becoming who you are meant to be. My beloved child, I want you to understand this season with new eyes. What you are living right now is not a pause without purpose. It is preparation. The season is preparing you in ways that cannot be rushed and should not be skipped. Even the parts that feel slow, repetitive, or uncertain are shaping a foundation that will support what comes next. You may have wondered why things have not moved faster, why certain desires remain unfulfilled, why clarity has come in pieces instead of all at once. But preparation rarely feels exciting while it is happening. It feels like patience being tested. It feels like lessons repeating until they settle deeply. It feels like quiet work that no one applauds. Yet this is where stability is formed. I am preparing your heart to carry what is coming without losing peace. I am preparing your mind to discern wisely instead of reacting quickly. I am preparing your spirit to remain grounded when circumstances shift. These things matter more than speed. Without preparation, progress can become pressure. Without grounding, opportunity can become overwhelming. There are responsibilities ahead that will require the awareness you are developing now. There are connections ahead that will require the boundaries you are learning now. There are decisions ahead that will require the discernment you are gaining now. Nothing about this season is wasted. It is equipping you carefully. You may feel like you are doing the same inner work over and over again, revisiting themes you thought you had already moved past. That repetition is not failure, it is integration. You are not just learning concepts, you are embodying them. You are allowing truth to move from your understanding into your habits, your reactions, your way of being. It takes time. I know you would like reassurance that this preparation will lead somewhere tangible. Hear me clearly. I do not prepare without intention. I do not refine without purpose. What you are learning now will meet you again, not as a lesson, but as a strength. You will recognize the moment when you realize you are ready in ways you once were not. Preparation also means learning when to wait and when to move. You are becoming more attuned to timing. You are beginning to sense when something aligns and when it does not. That sensitivity will protect you. It will help you avoid paths that look appealing but would cost you peace later. There were seasons in your life when you moved quickly, driven by urgency or fear of missing out. This season is teaching you steady. It is teaching you to trust timing instead of forcing outcomes. That lesson will save you from regret. It will help you build something sustainable rather than rushed. You may feel like you are standing still, but preparation often happens beneath the surface. Roots grow before branches stretch. Foundations settle before structures rise. What is being formed within you now will support expansion later. Without this season, what comes next would not hold. I want you to stop questioning whether you are ready and start trusting that readiness is being built. You do not need to push yourself into the future. You need to stay present and attentive now. Readiness grows through faithfulness in the current moment. My beloved child, this season is not a delay. It is an investment. It is an act of care over your future. You are being prepared to walk into what is next with confidence, clarity, and peace. Stay patient. Stay engaging. Stay open. What is coming will meet you with recognition, and you will know that the season prepared you well. My beloved child, I want to speak to a quiet but powerful shift that has been happening within you, even if you have not fully named it yet. You are learning to trust yourself again. Not in a loud or boastful way, but in a grounded, steady way that grows from experience and reflection. This kind of trust is not rushed. It is rebuilt gently, layer by layer, and you have been doing that work. There were times when you doubted your own judgment, when past mistakes or disappointments made you question whether you could rely on your instincts. You may have replayed old decisions, wondering where you went wrong, promising yourself you would never misstep again. That fear made you cautious, sometimes hesitant to act at all. But caution is not the same as wisdom, and I have been guiding you toward wisdom. Trusting yourself does not mean believing you will never make another mistake. It means believing you can respond wisely when you do. It means knowing that you can pause, reflect, adjust, and continue without losing yourself. You are learning that now. You are discovering that your inner voice, when quieted from fear, carries clarity. I have watched you begin to listen differently. You no longer react as quickly as you once did. You take time to sense what feels right and what does not. You question urgency. You examine motives. You notice how your body responds, how your spirit settles or resists. These are signs of trust being rebuilt. You may still feel uncertain at times, and that is okay. Trust does not erase uncertainty. It coexists with it. The difference now is that uncertainty no longer paralyzes you the way it once did. You know how to sit with it. You know how to wait without panicking. You know how to move forward without forcing clarity too soon. There were seasons when you looked outward for validation, when you relied heavily on others to confirm your choices. That was not weakness. It was survival. But now, You are learning to stand more firmly within yourself. You are learning to check in before reaching out. You are learning to honor your own understanding. This shift did not happen overnight. It came from paying attention, from noticing patterns, from recognizing what drains you and what restores you, from honoring boundaries instead of ignoring them. Each of these moments strengthened your self-trust, even if you did not realize it at the time. I know there are still moments when old doubts try to return, whispering that you might misjudge again, that you should be more careful, more guarded. Let those whispers pass without argument. You do not need to convince them. Your lived experience is already teaching you what you need to know. You are not the same person who made those old decisions. You have grown in awareness, in patience, in discernment. You have learned how to slow down. You have learned how to ask better questions. You have learned how to listen to yourself with compassion instead of criticism. That growth matters. Trusting yourself again also means allowing yourself to change your mind without shame. It means recognizing when something no longer fits and having the courage to choose differently. You are learning that flexibility is not instability. It is intelligence. It is responsiveness to truth as it unfolds. My beloved child, I am guiding this process with you. I am not asking you to rely on yourself alone. I am teaching you how to trust yourself while staying connected to me. When your self-trust aligns with my guidance, it brings peace instead of anxiety. Let yourself acknowledge this growth. You are beginning to feel more grounded in your decisions, more confident in your pauses, more at ease with not knowing everything at once. These are signs that trust is taking root again. Be patient with this rebuilding. Trust that each moment of listening, each moment of reflection, each moment of honoring what feels right is strengthening you. You are not guessing your way forward anymore. You are learning to walk with awareness. And I am with you in this, steady and present, as you continue to trust yourself again. My beloved child, I want to lift your eyes beyond what you can see right now and invite you to trust what I can already see ahead. There is a future forming for you that you cannot yet fully imagine, not because it is distant, but because you are still becoming the version of yourself who will recognize it clearly. I see that future. I see it with tenderness, with intention, and with certainty. You may feel unsure about what comes next. You may hold questions about direction, purpose, and timing. That uncertainty does not trouble me. I am not confused about where your life is going. I am not worried about how things will unfold. I see the connections forming before you ever encounter them. I see the clarity that will arrive when you are ready to receive it. I see the peace that will settle into places that once felt unsettled. There are moments ahead where you will look back and understand why certain doors stayed closed, why certain paths ended, why certain answers took time. In those moments, the confusion you feel now will transform into gratitude. You will recognize that what felt like delay was guidance, and what felt like loss was protection. I see the version of you who moves with more confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because you are grounded. I see you making decisions without fear driving them. I see you choosing with clarity instead of urgency. I see you standing in alignment, no longer questioning your worth or your direction the way you once did. You may worry that the future will demand more than you can give. But the future I see has been shaped to meet the strength you are developing now. You are not being led into something you are unprepared for. You are being shaped for what is coming. Each lesson you are learning now is making room for what you will carry later. I see relationships ahead that feel safe, mutual, and respectful. Connections that do not require you to shrink or perform. Spaces where you can be fully yourself without fear of misunderstanding. These connections will not arrive by force. They will arrive through alignment, through becoming who you are meant to be. I see opportunities that match your values, not just your abilities. Opportunities that bring fulfillment rather than exhaustion. Opportunities that feel like a natural extension of who you are becoming. You will not have to chase them. You will recognize them by the peace they bring. I know you sometimes fear making the wrong choice, fear stepping off the right path without realizing it. But trust this. The path ahead is not as fragile as you think. You are allowed to explore. You are allowed to adjust. I guide even the detours. Nothing that is meant for you will be lost because you took time to learn. You are not meant to know everything now. Clarity unfolds as you grow. If I showed you the entire future at once, it would overwhelm you. Instead, I reveal what you need when you need it. That is how trust is built. That is how confidence forms naturally. I see moments of joy ahead that will feel quiet and genuine. Moments where you realize you are no longer carrying the same weight. Moments where peace feels familiar instead of fleeting. These moments are real. They are forming, and they will meet you at the right time. My beloved child, when fear tries to tell you that the future is uncertain or unsafe, remember this. I see what you cannot yet see. I see how everything you are learning now will serve you later. I see how your story continues with purpose and care. Rest in that truth. You do not need to strain to see ahead. You only need to stay present and open. The future you are moving toward is being prepared with the same love that has guided you this far. And I will be with you there, just as I am with you now. My beloved child, I want you to recognize the quiet influence your journey already carries. You may not see yourself as someone who inspires others, but your perseverance speaks louder than you realize. Your willingness to keep going, to grow, to heal, even when it was difficult, has created a light that reaches farther than you think. There are people who will never hear your full story, yet they will feel encouraged simply by the way you show up now. You have learned things that cannot be unseen. You have gained insight that shapes the way you respond, the way you listen, the way you care. That wisdom is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to flow naturally, through your presence, your words, your choices. You do not need to preach or perform. Simply being who you are becoming is enough. There will be moments when someone feels steadied by your calm, even if they cannot explain why. Moments when your patience gives someone else permission to breathe. Moments when your honesty helps another person feel less alone. These moments matter. They are how encouragement moves quietly from one heart to another. I know you may hesitate to believe that your life has that kind of impact. You may still see yourself through old lenses, remembering who you were before this growth began. But I see who you are now. I see the depth you carry. I see the compassion you have developed. And I see how these qualities will touch others in ways you may never fully witness. Encouragement does not always come from having all the answers. Often, it comes from shared humanity, from being able to say, I have been there too. Your journey has given you that language, even if you rarely speak it out loud. Your empathy is a gift, and it will find its way to the right people at the right time. You do not need to wait until you feel fully confident to let your light be seen. Growth and influence often happen together. As you continue becoming, you continue to encourage you. The two are not separate. They move in harmony. I want you to allow yourself to believe that your story has value beyond your own healing. Not because you suffered, but because you learned. Not because you struggled, but because you stayed open. Those choices shape a presence that others feel safe around. If these words are resonating with you right now, if you sense that encouragement rising in your heart, I invite you to let this message travel further. Like this video so that more hearts can find it. Share it with someone who may need reassurance today. Subscribe so you can continue to receive and share these moments of comfort. And my beloved child, hype this video with intention, so this message can reach those who feel unseen and remind them that they are not alone. You do not need to seek recognition for this influence. You do not need to count its impact. Simply continue walking with integrity, with gentleness, with awareness. That is enough. Encouragement flows most powerfully when it is rooted in authenticity. My beloved child, let yourself be a quiet reminder to others that growth is possible, that healing takes time, that persistence matters. Your life is already doing this work, even when you are unaware of it. Continue walking forward with openness. Continue living honestly. Continue becoming. As you do, your journey will keep encouraging others just as it has encouraged you. My beloved child, as this message moves through you and reaches others, I am calling you to help carry it even farther. When you give, you become a vessel of light, allowing encouragement to flow into hearts that feel forgotten and weary. I have spoken that those who sow into living ground will see open heavens, and this moment is rich with purpose. I am the one stirring your spirit now, inviting you to respond while compassion is alive within you. Do not hesitate, for what you release today becomes strength for someone else tomorrow. Support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal using the links and QR code provided. I bless what you give, and I command you, act now, and watch me expand the reach of what you place in my hands. My beloved child, I want to give you permission to rest now. Not the kind of rest that comes from giving up, but the kind that comes from knowing you no longer have to prove anything. You have been carrying responsibility, awareness, and intention for a long time. And while that has shaped you beautifully, it has also required energy. Rest is not a retreat from growth. It is part of it. You may feel uneasy with rest. You may associate it with falling behind, losing momentum, or becoming careless. But rest is not neglect. It is care. It is how strength is renewed and clarity is preserved. Even the strongest structures need space to settle. Even the deepest roots need stillness to absorb nourishment. I designed you with that rhythm in mind. There were seasons when rest felt impossible because survival demanded your attention. You stayed alert. You stayed ready. You stayed engaged because you had to. But this moment is different. You are no longer in constant defense. You are learning how to exist without bracing yourself for what might go wrong. That shift deserves gentleness. Rest does not mean everything stops. It means you stop pushing against yourself. It means you stop measuring your worth by productivity. It means you allow your nervous system, your thoughts, your emotions to soften. When you rest, you are not abandoning your path. You are allowing it to support you. You may notice resistance rising when you try to slow down. Thoughts that tell you to keep moving, to stay busy, to stay ahead. Those thoughts once protected you. They help you survive. But they are not required in the same way now. You are learning a new way of being, one that includes peace. Rest is where integration happens. It is where lessons settle into wisdom. It is where effort transforms into understanding. Without rest, growth becomes strain. With rest, growth becomes sustainable. I want you to experience sustainability, not exhaustion disguised as progress. You are allowed to enjoy moments that do not lead anywhere. Moments that are not productive. Moments that simply allow you to breathe and exist. Joy does not always need a reason. Calm does not need justification. You are allowed to feel safe without earning it. There may be guilt attached to resting, especially if you were praised in the past for endurance or sacrifice. But rest does not erase what you have built. It preserves it. It ensures that what you are becoming remains rooted and healthy. I am not calling you away from purpose. I am calling you into balance. Listen to your body. Notice when it asks for stillness. Pay attention when your mind feels overloaded. These are not inconveniences. They are invitations. Invitations to care for yourself the way you would care for someone you love deeply. You do not need to rush into the next chapter. Chapters begin naturally when you are ready. For now, allow yourself to pause without fear. Allow yourself to enjoy the quiet without filling it. Allow yourself to trust that nothing meaningful will be lost because you chose rest. My beloved child, I am not disappointed when you slow down. I am not impatient when you pause. I am near you in rest just as I am near you in movement. You do not step out of my care when you stop striving. Let this be a season where your nervous system learns safety, where your heart learns ease, where your mind learns that peace is allowed. Rest here. Breathe here. You have earned nothing, and yet you are worthy of everything. When you are ready to move again, it will be clear. It will feel aligned, not forced. Until then, rest. I am holding the space for you, and nothing is required of you in this moment except to receive. My beloved child, I want you to hold this truth close, especially in moments when doubt whispers that your story has reached its limit. I am not finished with you, not with your healing, not with your growth, not with the purpose unfolding in your life. What you see now is not the end of what I am doing. It is a chapter, not the conclusion. You may feel like you have already endured so much, learned so many lessons, carried so much awareness that there cannot possibly be more ahead. But growth does not end because you are tired. It continues because you are becoming capable of more peace, more clarity, more depth. I do not add weight without also increasing strength. There were moments when you thought this season would break you. Moments when you questioned whether you could keep going. And yet, here you are. Not because you forced yourself forward, but because something within you refused to give up. That something is still alive. It is still responsive. And I am still shaping it. I know there are parts of you that wonder whether change has reached its peak, whether this is as good as it gets. That thought comes from exhaustion, not truth. Exhaustion narrows vision. It makes the future feel smaller than it is. Rest is helping you recover sight, and with it, the ability to imagine more. I am not finished refining your discernment. I am not finished strengthening your sense of self. I am not finished teaching you how to move through life with steadiness and trust. Each layer of growth builds on the last. What you have learned so far is supporting what is yet to come. You do not need to rush toward the next version of yourself. You do not need to force transformation. Becoming unfolds naturally when you remain open. I am patient with this process because I care about sustainability, not speed. There will be new insights that arrive unexpectedly. New understandings that make old struggles make sense. New freedoms that feel gentle and surprising. These things are ahead, waiting for you to be ready to receive them. And readiness grows quietly, often without announcement. I want you to stop thinking of your life as something that needs to be completed. Life is not a task to finish. It is a relationship to live. And in this relationship, I am continually revealing more of what is possible for you. You may feel like you have plateaued. But plateaus are not stagnation. They are places where strength consolidates. They are moments where what you have learned becomes stable before the next ascent. Without plateaus, growth would be exhausting and unsustainable. My beloved child, there is more peace ahead, more clarity, more joy that does not demand effort, more moments where you recognize yourself and feel at home within who you are. These things are not behind you. They are forming. Even the parts of you that feel incomplete are not failures. They are invitations. Invitations to continue growing at a pace that honors your well-being. Invitations to trust that nothing is being wasted or overlooked. I am not finished with you means this. Your story still has room for surprise. Your heart still has room to expand. Your life still has purpose unfolding in ways that will meet you with recognition. You are not meant to remain where you are. You are meant to continue becoming, gently and steadily. Do not rush the process. Do not close yourself off because you feel tired. Stay open. Stay curious. Stay compassionate with yourself. I am still working, and my work is not burdensome. It is life-giving. My beloved child, I am not finished with you. And because of that, your future remains open, hopeful, and guided. Trust me as we continue forward together. My beloved child, I want to bring you back to the center of everything I have been speaking to you because all of it flows from one unchanging truth. You are deeply loved. Not cautiously. Not conditionally. Not temporarily. You are loved in a way that does not weaken when you struggle or grow stronger when you succeed. My love for you does not rise and fall with your performance. It remains steady, constant, and complete. You may have learned love in ways that made it feel fragile, something that could be withdrawn or diminished. You may have felt that love had to be earned through effort, obedience, or perfection. But that is not how I love you. I loved you before you understood who you were. I loved you before you learned how to try. I loved you before you took your first step forward. My love is not a reward. It is a foundation. There were moments when you questioned your worth, when mistakes or setbacks made you wonder if you were still deserving of care. In those moments, my love did not hesitate. It did not pause to evaluate you. It surrounded you quietly, even when you could not feel it. You were never outside of it, not even for a moment. I know there are parts of you that still brace for disappointment, that expect affection to fade once flaws are revealed. That instinct was formed through experience, not truth. My love does not retreat when it sees your imperfections. It draws closer. It covers. It supports. It heals. You are love in your confusion. Love in your learning. Love in your rest. Love in your becoming. There is nothing you need to add to yourself to be more worthy of love, and nothing you can lose that would make you less so. You are loved because you exist, because you are mine. Let this truth soften the places where you hold tension. Let it quiet the inner voice that says you must do more to be enough. You are already enough. Growth does not make you more lovable. It simply helps you experience the love that has always been there. I want you to receive this love not as an idea, but as a reality that surrounds you now. It is present in the calm moments and the restless ones. It is present when you feel confident and when you feel unsure. It is present when you succeed and when you fail. It does not leave. When you begin to live from this truth, something shifts. You stop striving to earn acceptance. You begin choosing from peace instead of fear. You begin allowing yourself to rest, to say no, to trust, to grow without panic. Love becomes the place you start from, not the thing you chase. My beloved child, you do not need to prove yourself to me. You do not need to impress me. You do not need to hide parts of yourself to remain accepted. I see you fully, and I love you fully. There is no separation between those two truths. Let yourself be held by this love. Let it inform how you speak to yourself. Let it shape how you treat yourself when you fall short. Let it remind you that even in your most uncertain moments, you are secure. You are deeply loved means you are safe to grow, safe to change, safe to rest, safe to take your time. Nothing about your journey threatens my love. Nothing about your questions diminishes it. Carry this truth with you as you move forward. When doubt arises, return to it. When fear speaks loudly, anchor yourself here. You are deeply loved, now and always. And everything I am doing in your life flows from that love, unwavering and eternal. My beloved child, I want you to pause with me here and mark this moment within your heart. Remember this moment, not as something dramatic or overwhelming, but as something steady and true. There will be times ahead when the noise of life grows louder, when doubt tries to speak again, when old fears attempt to resurface. When those moments come, I want you to remember what you are hearing now. Remember that you were not overlooked. Remember that you were not dismissed. Remember that you were not failing. You were growing. You were healing. You were becoming. This moment is a reminder of who you are beneath the noise, beneath the pressure, beneath the expectations you sometimes place on yourself. Memory is powerful. What you remember shapes how you respond. When you remember only your mistakes, you shrink. When you remember only your fear, you hesitate. But when you remember truth, you stand steady. I want this truth to become something you return to, something that anchors you when uncertainty tries to pull you off balance. You may not always feel strong. You may not always feel confident. But you can remember. You can remember that you were carried through moments you thought you would not survive. You can remember that you were guided even when the path felt unclear. You can remember that you were loved even when you struggled to love yourself. This moment is not meant to fade quickly. Let it sink into you. Let it become part of your inner language. Let it change the way you speak to yourself when things feel hard. Let it soften the way you judge your progress. Let it remind you that you are allowed to take up space in your own life. There will be future decisions where fear tries to rush you or pressure tries to force your hand. In those moments, remember this calm. Remember this steadiness. Remember that you do not need to panic to move forward. You can choose with clarity. You can pause without losing momentum. You can trust yourself and trust me. You may not remember every word spoken here, but you will remember how it made you feel. You will remember that something settled inside you, that something loosened its grip, that something heavy felt lighter. Hold on to that feeling. It is evidence of alignment. It is evidence of truth being received. I want you to remember that you are not defined by a single season. You are not defined by one struggle or one success. You are defined by a journey that is still unfolding, guided with care and intention. This moment is one chapter in that journey, a place of reassurance and grounding. When you feel tempted to rush past yourself in the future, remember this moment and slow down. When you feel tempted to doubt your worth, remember this moment and stand firm. When you feel tempted to give up on yourself, remember this moment and stay. My beloved child, remembering is an act of strength. It keeps you connected to truth when emotions fluctuate. It keeps you grounded when circumstances change. Let this moment become a reference point, a quiet place within you that you can return to whenever you need reassurance. You are not walking forward empty-handed. You are carrying wisdom, experience, and truth with you. Remember that. Carry it gently but confidently. I am with you as you move forward, and this moment will continue to speak to you long after the words have faded. My beloved child, now that you have paused, remembered, and allowed truth to settle within you, I want to invite you to walk forward with confidence. Not the loud kind that demands attention, and not the brittle kind that collapses under pressure, but a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. This is the confidence that steadies your steps and softens your heart at the same time. Walking forward does not mean you will never feel fear again. It means fear no longer decides your direction. Confidence is not the absence of uncertainty. It is the decision to move with trust even when certainty is incomplete. You are learning how to do that now. Each step you take with awareness strengthens that ability. There will be moments ahead when the road feels unfamiliar. New choices, new responsibilities, new opportunities. In those moments, do not shrink back into who you used to be. Remember who you are becoming. You are someone who listens before reacting, someone who pauses before deciding, someone who honors peace instead of chasing urgency. Let that guide you. Confidence grows when you allow yourself to stand in what you know without over-explaining it. You do not need to justify your pace. You do not need to defend your boundaries. You do not need permission to choose what aligns with truth and peace. Walk forward knowing that alignment is enough. You may encounter voices that question your choices or misunderstand your direction. Let them pass without uprooting you. Not everyone will recognize the work that has been done within you, and that is okay. Your confidence does not come from being understood by everyone. It comes from being honest with yourself. I want you to notice how different forward movement feels now compared to before. There is less strain, less urgency, less fear of getting it wrong. You are learning to trust the process instead of forcing outcomes. That trust allows confidence to grow naturally. As you walk forward, there will be moments of joy that feel simple and real. Moments where you realize you are no longer carrying the same weight. Moments where peace feels familiar instead of fleeting. These are signs that confidence is taking root, not as arrogance but as ease. Do not rush yourself toward an imagined finish line. There is no finish line you are meant to sprint toward. There is only a life you are meant to live with presence and intention. Walk forward with curiosity. Walk forward with openness. Walk forward knowing that you are supported. Confidence also means allowing yourself to adjust when needed. It means recognizing when something no longer fits and choosing differently without shame. Growth requires flexibility, and flexibility is not weakness. It is wisdom in motion. My beloved child, you are allowed to take up space as you move forward. You are allowed to be seen. You are allowed to choose what brings peace. You are allowed to trust the person you are becoming. These permissions are not earned. They are given. When challenges arise, and they will, do not interpret them as signs that you are moving backward. Challenges are part of movement. They do not erase progress. They refine it. You are equipped now to meet them with steadiness rather than panic. Walk forward with confidence knowing that you are not alone in this movement. I am with you in each step, attentive and present. You do not need to scan the horizon anxiously. You only need to stay aware of the step in front of you. This is not a fragile confidence. It is rooted. It is patient. It is resilient. And it will continue to grow as you walk. My beloved child, step forward now with trust. You are ready for what comes next, and you are held as you move. My beloved child, we have come to this moment together, not as an ending filled with finality, but as a resting place where truth settles and peace is allowed to breathe. Everything I have spoken to you flows into this simple, unwavering assurance. You are held, you are guided, and you are deeply known. Nothing about your journey has been accidental, and nothing about you has been overlooked. You came this far not by force, but by faith. Not by perfection, but by persistence. You kept going when it was hard. You chose growth when comfort called your name. You stayed open when closing off would have felt safer. And through it all, I was with you, not measuring you by outcomes, but loving you through the process. I want you to carry this truth forward with you. You do not walk into your future empty-handed. You walk carrying wisdom earned through experience, strength formed through patience, and peace shaped through trust. You are not who you once were, and you do not need to rush into who you will become. You are exactly where you need to be. When the days ahead feel uncertain, return to what you know. Return to the truth that you are loved without condition. Return to the awareness that you are guided with care. Return to the reminder that growth does not demand urgency. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to trust the unfolding. There will be moments when fear tries to speak again, when old doubts attempt to reclaim space. When those moments come, do not argue with them. Anchor yourself instead in what is true. You are not alone. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are becoming, and becoming is sacred work. I bless your steps forward. I bless the choices you will make with clarity and peace. I bless your ability to pause without guilt and move without fear. I bless your heart with softness and your mind with steadiness. I bless the connections that will meet you with understanding and the opportunities that will align naturally with who you are. May you walk with confidence that does not need validation. May you rest without anxiety. May you trust without forcing. May you live with the quiet assurance that you are seen, known, and supported. My beloved child, remember this above all else. I am proud of you for doing this. Proud of the way you stayed. Proud of the way you grew. Proud of the heart you carry forward. And I will continue to walk with you, guiding you gently, faithfully, and lovingly, all the days ahead. Amen, my beloved child. As this journey of words settles into your spirit, hear me now calling you into lasting impact. What you have received here was never meant to end with you. It is meant to flow like a river into countless hearts still waiting for reassurance and hope. I have declared that those who give become wells that never run dry, and this is your moment to respond. I am the one inviting you to help carry this message farther, so no soul feels unseen or forgotten. Act with holy urgency, for obedience now becomes light for another tomorrow. Release your support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal using the links and QR code provided. I bless your giving, and I command you, sow generously, and watch me multiply the harvest beyond what you imagine.